folks, to episode 50. Yes, hello and welcome to the Music Scout Podcast with myself, Lewis Fisher, and finally we are here, folks, episode number 50, and what an absolute banger of an episode I have for you today. Firstly, thank you very much for the last week or so. It's been mental for just views and downloads of the podcast. I think in the last few days since it's been released, I'm recording this on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. The podcast has been out 5 or 6 days and we've had nearly over 600 downloads. That is mental. I think I've never had that for one episode, let alone a whole month. So thank you all very much for the support as well. It's just been insane. And I hope this episode is going to be just as good as episode 49 because I have literally trawled the internet for some of the best music around just for this episode. And we're starting off this week with my boys. They're close to my heart. It was Black Foxes with their latest single, Sailor. I think that's how you pronounce it. Honestly, if you check it out and you'll understand what I mean with the pronunciation of this song. This is forthcoming from their album coming out in March from Ready, R-E-I with like an Icelandic D and an I. I can't pronounce it properly, but I think it says Ready. And that was Sailor, very, very good song, a little bit poppier than their last track, but their last single and album, but nonetheless, it's just as bloody good. These guys are going to be smashing it this year, and that album is going to be such a big contender for Album of the Year 2018 when it drops in March. So, let's get on to the next track from Warm Digits. This is going to be a song called Growth of Raindrops featuring Sarah Cracknell, and you may have heard this on Six Music, as this is where I picked this up from. I thought this was a quality song, and these guys actually haven't got any radio play or any support on Spotify or anything like that. So let's change that, shall we? And let's listen to this song. Yes, folks, the latest single from Warm Digits with the song Growth of Raindrops featuring Sarah Cracknell, and I definitely think that this song is sort of like a spitting image of a really decent 80s track, and it blends the synth with some brilliant vocals and harmonizing from Sarah Cracknell with the band. And yeah, I thought this was a quality song. I heard it on Six Music, like I said, and I would thoroughly recommend you go check out the rest of their stuff. So let's turn it down a little bit with a little bit of Jaws of Love from their latest album, and this is going to be the single Jaws of Love.
Hold
From the album Tasha Sits Close to the Piano, that was Jaws of Love with the very first song off that new album that came out in 2017, Jaws of Love. And it very nicely goes into the second song called Hawaiian License Plates. I had to sort of fade it out because it's one of those albums that want you to listen to the whole album because they flow perfectly. So the horns continue into the next song. It sounds brilliant. But in terms of the podcast for just one song, I had to fade out or something like that. Anyway, absolutely beautiful song though. The sort of intimate piano section at the beginning and then bringing into the sort of more upbeat side, sort of bringing in a little bit more energy towards the end of it. And even though it's about 5.5 minutes long, the song really doesn't feel like that because it's just such a well produced and well written song. Now you're probably wondering why this episode's about 1 hour and 20 long. It's because one, this is a full podcast episode with 7 songs in it, and there's going to be an interview as well. So, well, technically there's 9 songs, technically, but usually what I do for interviews is I play probably 4 or 5 songs and then get into the interview. But because this is the 50th episode, I thought, let's just do a full episode already and an interview as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the 7 songs for you, and you've heard 3 of them already, and we're going to jump into the 4th one very soon. And then we're going to hear the introduction to the interview that I've got later on with the band KARMS. I spoke to Colm earlier on. Was it last week? Yeah, and we actually had to take 2 takes of it because the first interview failed. The first interview decided to not work, so that was all good fun, and so we decided to record it again. So that's going to be ready for you, and we're going to listen to one of the first tracks that Colm has actually said he wants me to play first, just to give you a rough indication of what the band is about. Then we'll get into the interview, and then we'll play the final song that Colm has decided to play from their EP they released in September last year. Fantastic interview. Please do stick around for it. I've spoken for too much, which does not surprise me whatsoever. And let's get into the next track by a fantastic band called The Warriors.
But our seats at the bar feel the same. We can run, but we're back here anyway. Smile at the worst of things. Laugh when I hate everything. I can reread every exchange, every display, misplaced energy. What was I high? Must
Breakers with their song My 85th Rodeo, latest single for them. Fantastic song, and I definitely didn't think you were expecting that. You thought it was going to be a nice little slow song, and then just as exactly how I thought, oh, hello, here we go. It reminds me of Frank Turner's Four Simple Words, which is one of my favourites from him. As you know, massive fan of him, got a tattoo of his lyrics on me, and it's just a fantastic song, including the just how the production was done as well. It sounds slightly off in a way. It sounds muted, and it doesn't sound as good as the rockiest section is, but it definitely brings more light and more energy to the song, and I thought it was fantastic the way they've done that. I heard it just before I started recording this segment again. I thought, oh, it's so good, the difference in production. It just shows how well produced it was. So it's time, folks, to get into the double header of music, and this one's going to be a good one. This is going to be two genres clashing against each other, and I'm going to leave you for about 10 minutes or so. This is going to be a long double header of music, and we're going to listen to Black Joe Lewis first with the song called Maroon. This is from his album he brought out last year called Backlash, and we're going to hear a single from Luton, which is Luwten, with the song Difference, and boy, these two songs couldn't be any more different.
Let you say, you know it lives today. Seems like it's time to see the difference between the people I miss and the people I'd like to meet. It seems like it's time to see the difference between the people I miss and the people I'd like to meet.
The salt in the air makes your hair all curly. You find out it feels so natural to get up real early. How firmly you place your right hand on the left side of your chest, and just how serious you are about that.
Seems like it's time to see the difference between the people I miss and the people I'd like to meet. It seems like it's time to see the difference between the people I'm missing, the people I'd like to meet.
Search for a shirt in the right kind of blue, or you're convinced that money will somehow come to you. How hard you try to be the central pole of your systems. How hard when your loved ones are like magnets in them.
Yes, folks, I'm back with a double header of music for you. Like I said, it was very, very different from what I normally play for, just in terms of music genres. You know, I don't normally dabble out of anything to do with indie or rock or anything like that. But when I do like to get out of those genres, I do tend to find some absolute gems. And Black Joe Lewis with the song Maroon was a very, very different song in terms of the style, just in terms of, well, I mean, the beginning of the song pretty much sums it up as sort of the psychedelic twang of the guitar. I love Joe Lewis's gruffness in his voice, and there's sort of like that R&B soul tone to it, and that pretty much flows through the whole album, Backlash. So that came out last year, and do go check that out. And then the second song we had was by Luton, Luwten, with the song Difference. And this is completely different to Black Joe Lewis's song, because there was just so much atmosphere and so much to tell. It felt like I was in sort of like a fantasy dreamland for a little while. Such elegance in her voice and such elegance in the music as well, to then slowly build it up. And that definitely was a headphones moment. I would thoroughly recommend to listen to Luton's song with headphones on. So we're going to listen to one more song before the technical, as I put my hands up and put inverted commas, podcast is over, before we move on to the second segment of the podcast. And I'm going to be finishing off this podcast part with The World is a Beautiful Place and I Am No Longer Afraid to Die. That's the band name, and the song is called Faker. This is from their 2017 album, which is a fantastic album called Always Foreign, came out last year. That name again for the band is The World is a Beautiful Place and I Am No Longer Afraid to Die, and their song Faker. This is a fantastic song. I do try to end on corkers in terms of the usual podcast episodes. It's still the case because this is still the usual podcast episode, but once I come back, I will give you all the details for the social media, email and website, and then we will get into the part with KARMS.
Seen on screens in silence. Will you be faking it when we're tied to the tracks, denying that there's rope around our wrists? Will you be faking it when they're rounding us up? Resources all the shore is just a test. Tell your when the
folks, that is the end of the podcast, and now we're going to get into the interview section. Firstly, The World is a Beautiful Place and I Am No Longer Afraid to Die with their song Faker from the astounding album Always Foreign. I wish I found it in 2017 because I think there might have been a contender for top 10, so do go check that out. So, here we are folks. This is the interview section of the podcast. We are 40 minutes in, so I have overrun by 10 minutes already. Aren't you guys happy? So let's move into the first song. So give you an introduction on KARMS. They are a 4-piece rock and roll band. I say rock and roll, so alternative rock band from Dublin in Ireland. And I spoke to Colm from KARMS, and he's the lead singer and guitarist of the band. They have released an EP called River. This was released on September 6th in 2017. It's their first piece of material that's been released, and just to put into perspective on these guys, with them being quite special, the first gig was supporting no other than the Amazons. That's a pretty damn big gig for your first ever gig live. And we talk about the EP, we talk about the songs that they wrote, how they wrote them, we talk about the album artwork, we talk about live songs, talk a bit about Foo Fighters, and that'll be it folks. So it's going to be about half an hour long, this interview, and then Colm is going to introduce the final song called Beautiful Magic for you. And before I leave you with the song, the interview, and the last song, do go check out the Music Scout website, which is www.themusicscout.co.uk. There you can find all the podcast episodes, podcast listings for all the songs that I have played, and also the blog. Loads of people are enjoying the blog, so do go check that out. Social media sites is www.facebook.com/themusicscout, and Twitter is @themusicscout with a little underscore. And also the email, if you want to email me, is themusicscoutpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you all very much for your support once again. I'm going to hand over to Pastor Lewis, who is slightly more nasal and who has a cold, but nonetheless, it is a good interview anyway. But I will leave you there, folks. Thank you very much for your support, and enjoy the interview. Ta-ra!
Even when we win, they're doubting you.
So here we are with Colm from the band KARMS. They have a debut EP that just came out this September called River. And thank you for joining me, Colm.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having it.
Not a problem. And obviously you're taking time out from work as well, which makes it extra special.
Anything to get away from the desk, you know.
So you're also being interviewed for episode 50, which is making it extra special, I guess. So this is probably the best interview that we'll have
Ever.
Well, I mean, you're sort of coming away from work, and it's the 50th episode. So unless I do an interview for the 100th episode, this probably will be the best interview ever. Okay, so let's kick into the EP that you created, River. So it was released on the 6th of September in 2017. Now, the first thing I wanted to point out was the artwork, because the artwork looks pretty cool. And how did that come about?
So I guess one day you're just chilling in the studio, and one of the lads comes in with a canvas and a bunch of paint and says, "Let's chuck some paint at this canvas," and that's the artwork.
That's literally it, is it?
That's literally it. Like kids in a creche, you know. It's like, let's go to town on this canvas.
Yeah. How long did it take though?
Oh, it only took about 5 minutes. Like,
oh right.
Yeah, like it was whatever amount of paint that was there. Once it was gone, it was gone. And when you thought you just chuck and paint at an empty canvas, and then when you think it's done, someone will say, no, we need a bit more color down the bottom there, as if we're like some sort of Michelangelo or something, you know, and we actually know what we're talking about. But it was literally just throw everything at this, and that will be it.
And how many colours have you thrown at this then? Is it?
Oh,
it looks like quite a few, but
there's a good few. Yeah, there's a good bit. I think there's some teal in there, some auburn, midnight terracotta. I'd say is in there as well. You know,
so
and there's this weird white.
You know your colour types then.
Oh yeah, like definitely didn't just make them up at all.
So I would have just said like red, green, blue. It's like
oh no, they're in there as well. No, you have to have the primaries in there as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I was like, what colour is that? I was like, yeah, I can't believe it only took 5 minutes. It looks like it's been done by a professional, and it sort of took a long time to create. It's sort of like organised mess, as it were.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, everybody had to go like this, you know, get a spatula, put some paint on it, and flick it at this canvas.
Oh, so it's done with spatulas as well. It
yeah.
I thought it was like finger painting or something like that.
No, well, there's a bit of finger painting, a bit of everything, like, to be honest with you. And like whatever, the thing was, whatever you do, don't fuck it up.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. And then you just put the logo and your name over the top of it afterwards.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Although the logo is very simple, but I do like it.
Yeah, I think like bands tend to overthink things, I think, or get too into their heads about being artistic and creative because they think people expect them to be. And I think if you just keep it simple, it appeals more and it costs you less.
Very true. I mean, I can't imagine if you were trying to make a very, very expensive logo, I think you would prefer the simplistic one as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Lovely. So, let's move on to the actual music from the EP. So, which song was actually written first for this EP? So, there's 4 tracks on it.
Yeah, 4 tracks on it. The first song that was written was one called She Said, which is kind of a really old song for us. Mm-hmm. It's one of the first songs we ever wrote, and it just, we hadn't played it for a while, and then when we were kind of tracking demos for the album, we said, let's try this, and it's just the life that was in it. We were like, we can't not record this, and we can't not put this out, so I mean, that's how we put that on it.
So how old is the song we're talking?
Oh, geez, I'd say you're looking at 4 or 5 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, yeah, so myself and Steve's my brother, and the bass player, Danny, have been playing music together for a number of years, and Jay joined shortly after that. We kind of played under various other bands, as it were. And kind of KARMS is like a new lease of life, sort of release into, this new production sound and all of that. So it's taken an old song from a previous life, I suppose, and recreating it with a much bigger sound, and it sounds more instantaneous than it did the first time.
So did it sound any different from when you first wrote it to now? I can imagine it's gone through quite a few changes.
Yeah. So I think originally it was quite snappy and kind of pop punky, I suppose, and now it's just kind of more. It's still got all that energy, but it's kind of got a chill pop factor in it as well. I think like it's gone a bit lighter, but you can still feel the heavy essence under it as well.
Yeah, because I think that's the main thing that I've gained from listening to your music is that it's also rocky, but it's got like a melodic catch to all of the songs. In sort of I don't know, sort of you got guitar riffs, melodies, but as well as that, your vocals as well. They're quite catchy lyrics with the melodies as well. So you've got an intertwine of quite a few elements there.
Yeah, it's like a bastardized band, really, isn't it? It's kind of take like a sweet kind of vocal and stick it on top of really loud soaring guitars and drums.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds so simple.
Yeah.
So
it has to be simple.
Yeah, that's very true. So, talking of simple, I just wanted to know, with the catchy hooks and riffs you make, is that simple to get as well, or does that take a little bit more time?
I think it depends. Like the catchy hooks and riffs, they tend to come by accident. Like we don't have the attention span to sit down and work out, like formulate this song that we know is gonna sound amazing on the radio and everyone's gonna be singing along to it. It tends to just happen. Like, what you play is what you enjoy to play, and I think we could write a song over 6 months or a year, or it could take you a week or a day. Like the whole how you write a riff and catchiness, like it tends to just happen. There's no science to it other than that. Like,
so you just suddenly it comes to your head one day. But then there's specific parts though, as in your yourself or a guitarist would just come up with a riff, but it might not fit a certain song you're working on right now. So you could pop it away for a month or so, and we'll come back to it with a different song, and it might work in that one.
Yeah, exactly. Like save everything. Like nothing. Something that you think is crap today could be absolutely amazing the next day. So we tend to revisit things a lot. When you're writing a song, like you tend to you've got like the bones of like a beat and kind of a melody with a guitar and like a rhythm and the bass, and then you start try different melodies that work with that rhythm.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you find that you're writing vocal lines that suit that rhythm, and you might find a line that, if I repeat that, then that becomes a hook, and if we repeat that guitar line, then that's a hook, and it tends to just happen. Like,
yeah, I mean,
without you don't even think about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're making it sound so simple for everyone, but then again, I guess if it's a passion, then it is going to be simple, and you can do it very well. But obviously, these things take time, and you could shelve it for 5 months or so. It's not just going to happen instantaneously all the time.
No, like we've written songs where, like, I come to the practice room with a new song and we start playing it, and we're just like, no, we're not really feeling the vibe on this, and then you might pick up the guitar and play that song again a year later, and then all of a sudden, just depending on the mood and the vibe in the room, like someone picks up a beat that then works with that, and then that triggers a guitar melody that then swims around the song. So it's just mad how it happens. Like,
so you've got a lot of recordings stored in your phone or Mac, or
yeah, we've a lot of stuff. Like we're not one of those bands like that write hundreds and hundreds of songs, but we definitely have a lot of ideas, and when we we do most of the songs we write. We tend to write from start to finish within, you know, a week of starting working on it. But there's definitely ones that, you know, you'll leave and come back to. You know, we don't, not with the intention of saying, hey, on December 1st we're going to work on this song. It's just like one of those things where, depending on how you're feeling at the time, you might just start playing it and then something happens.
So have any sort of come to the fourth straight away, so they've been written and recorded in a day, and you're very happy with them?
So I think We Always Lose was quite a quick one to write. Myself and Steve, we're just working on it one day, and it was so funny. Like there's kind of like a big sort of heavy section in it, like where we go to this D chord and we put in like some weird timing on it, and we just laughed at it, saying that's what are we doing? Like that's turning a song that's like so poppy and you know, instantaneous into something that's got this really fucked up riff in it.
Oh, I quite like that though. That's probably what drives me to your interest.
It's like, leave it, like it works, and you know, don't think about it. But we wrote that song, I'd say, over a day or two, and brought it to the guys, and like with some fine tuning then in the studio, it was like, that was probably one of the quickest songs we've written.
Amazing. And it's one of the singles off your EP as well.
Yeah, it's the one we launched the band with, so we're quite proud of that one. It's gotten us a good bit of radio play in Ireland, and it seems to still people listening to it every day on Spotify, which is great. Like, so
yeah, fantastic. So the other song the first track is River, and this was another one that has another catchy melody, guitar line, as well as being quite heavy as well.
Yeah, it's got that sort of power. Like we always play it first at a gig. It's like an intro to KARMS. It's like those four beats at the start.
So hello, we're here.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's kind of, I just imagine like the way it works for us is, you know, it's that build up before the gig. You get up on stage, deep breath, and then, you know, bam, 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 and that's, you know, the relief for us. And all of a sudden we're into like this big energetic performance, and we can all relax once that intro happens.
So has anything happened on stage that's sort of been not disastrous, but for example, I went to see Foo Fighters in September, and supporting them was a band called Idols, and if you haven't checked them out, do go check them out. So like a British new punk band. And when they were on stage, the guitarist, he has his guitar quite high, and he sort of lifts it up and slams it down onto the beat. But he actually smacked his tooth with it, and after a song, he goes, "I've just chipped my tooth," and then the singer goes, "Oh, not again." So,
no way.
Has anything happened on that sort of scale?
Nothing as rock and roll as that now, I have to say. But we always say it wouldn't be a KARMS gig if something belonging to Steve, our guitar player, didn't like stop working halfway through the gig or something. He just has this real unfortunate thing of where his guitar will just give up and all of a sudden come back to life.
Oh my God! Actually, that's happened to us.
He has a trick, like he just knows if he gives it a certain type of kick, it'll be grand.
Yeah, that reminds me of my old band. We had to do the simple thing of just tying the cable around the amp, so then it's at a certain angle that it will work, and so you can't just plug it and play. You've got to like move it around to a certain angle. I think the other one is broken strings. That's another one that's happened as well.
I used to be really bad for breaking strings. Like I'd go through 6 in a gig. Like,
oh my God.
I just play so hard, and I've had to rein that in. Like I've had to just figure out a way that you can play this the same way without breaking anything.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, and you've succeeded.
Yeah, so far so good. I don't know what I've changed now, to be honest. But I haven't been breaking them that way.
Maybe more durable strings.
Or maybe better. I'm getting weaker.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible, yeah. So I can imagine that you won't be breaking any strings for Beautiful Magic, which is the final song of your EP. It's so different to everything else on the record as well, and I wondered what the message was behind it, and probably and also the process of writing that song, because it's so different. It's calming. It's just very not lethargic, but it's just very easy to listen to and just sit back and relax. Whereas all your other songs very much get up and go and high energy.
Yeah, so like Beautiful Magic kind of wrote itself. Like the first thing I do when I pick up a guitar, so I always, for some reason, will play a G chord and play around with whatever is going on around, like just kind of fingering around the G chord. That sounds really bad, doesn't it? But that's the first thing I do when I pick up a guitar, and I just started playing Beautiful Magic, and it just wrote itself really. And it's not like, I know it sounds maybe to some people like a love song, but it's really just about finding something that completes you as a person, or something that you long for or that you're searching for your life, and in your life, and you find it, and all of a sudden you feel better or complete.
Yep.
For me, it's kind of, I used to love like a Thursday night in our local town would be the chandelier sessions, and I used to just love going down and just playing, to people that know you and people that don't know you, and you play new songs, you play songs for the crack, and like I used to really get a buzz off going down and playing that show.
Yeah.
Like I would call that like a Beautiful Magic. Like it could be finding someone you love, and it can be finding your dream job, or even just having a poached egg in the morning, whatever it is. Like it's just that.
Is it making me hungry now?
Making myself hungry.
So, does Beautiful Magic go down well at the gigs? And I can imagine it's an easy one for people to sing along to. I think it's got that hook in it that people can actually sing along to at gigs as well.
Yeah, so the first gig we played, kind of our first headline show in Dublin, we just decided to go out into the, kind of unplugged middle of the crowd and play it. And it
Very
was
nice.
Absolutely special. Like everybody sang it. We, finished it back up on the stage, and, it was quite a special moment, like, because we always get scared of coming down too low at our gigs, because all of the other songs are quite energetic and loud and raw, and then to bring it down to such a level and still maintain the crowd, it was quite special.
Yeah,
I think you need to do that as well. Like, I think even, like, I know maybe if you've only got 6 songs, you mightn't throw it in there, but when you have a longer set, it's good to throw in some dynamic.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I think this song has that ability to do that, though. There are some songs that are slow, or that slow down, that can't really still carry that energy, but I think this song's got that sort of independent, sort of, not nakedness, but that kind of, what's the word?
It's just so chill, and
it's quite exposed, because it's so different to what you're doing, and it probably is quite impressive to the crowd and whoever's listening to think, wow, they can do this, but they've also got the ability to write this sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, like you got to come up for air at some stage, and it's good to come up and play something that's just so relaxing, and it's such a nice song. Like, it's one of my favorites. It's probably my favorite on the EP. We recorded, like, the first time we played it as a band was like pretty much when the red light was on to record it. Like, it was the last day of the studio. We all went down to the main room. We sat around and we just played it, and that was the first time we played it together. You can probably hear it on the record that it's quite raw and it's live, and it's still it's kind of just like parlor room chill.
I think that's probably the better way to record it, though, especially that type of song.
Yeah, the whole album was recorded live. We went to a studio in Donegal.
Wow.
And we all set up in the live room. Now it's a big studio, so you can, your amps aren't beside everything, but it's getting that performance, like, which was the main thing for us. It was like capturing the energy of us playing together as a band. which I don't think, we're much better as a live band than a studio band. So, going in and playing together was quite important to us. And then, you would overdub, parts after that, and we do the vocals separate. But, if you've no energy, then you don't really have a recording, at least from the kind of genre and thing that we're trying to put out.
Yeah, definitely. So, do you have a favourite gig that you've played at the moment?
My favourite gig was probably our first headline gig, because we sold it out.
Oh, wow.
We played, I think, 2 gigs before us, and it was just magic to see. Like, usually, we've been playing music for years, and usually you go and you play gigs and it's just your mates there.
Yeah.
And it was so good to see such a full room with people you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that was quite, I think it took us back a good bit, like put us it scared us a little, and I think that drove the performance as well.
So you probably put on your best performance you could have.
Yeah,
because of that.
Definitely.
Amazing. So, obviously we always lose the song you mentioned earlier. It's probably your heaviest song. With the forthcoming either album or new music, are you looking to change your sound slightly to a potentially heavier music, or are you guys sticking to what you do currently, or are you going to go towards the sound of Beautiful Magic?
So I think if you listen to the album when we drop the whole thing completely, there's a good variance in there. You've kind of got songs that start off quiet and build and build and build. You've got the songs like not Beautiful Magic, We Always Lose and River, where they're quite loud and heavy. So you've got that mix, but you can still hear the core sound of the band. With newer songs that we're writing right now, like, we're kind of still playing on that dynamic. Like, we love just, where you just can soar. Like, you can take a song from a pin drop to something that's really in your face and powerful and majestic or whatever. Yeah. You've still got that. We might bring some more electronic elements into it. We're quite, we're experimenting with keyboard sounds and synths and, electro rhythms and stuff. So we might see some of that in there, but it's all just building on the sound that we already have. Like, I don't think that will ever change.
Amazing. So, if you had to pick one song off the EP for people to listen to first, which song summarizes your sound best?
Yeah, it's got to be River. Like, as we said, like, it's the first song we play live most of the time. It's like that intro. This is what you should expect over the next 40 minutes to an hour. Like, it's
amazing.
It's just all go.
Yeah. So we'll play River first for everyone before the interview, so you've already heard it. So hope you enjoyed it. And what song would you like to play at the end after this interview?
Yeah, I think just to give them, because we've talked about it a good bit, it'd be nice to play them some Beautiful Magic, just to show them chalk and cheese.
Interesting. Yeah, we can play some Beautiful Magic at the end of the interview. We're nearly done, but I would just like to ask you one more question. So I saw that Foo Fighters were your influence among others. So I saw you had U2, Sigur Rós, but for you, Foo Fighters is sort of the one that I resonate to the most. What's your favourite album and what's your favourite song by them?
My favourite album, I think, is, Turn Volume Up Full and Go for Wasting Light.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it. Like, I know a lot of people I talk to don't really like it. They think it's just a cop out of an album, but I absolutely love it. Like, blast it in the car.
Yeah,
it's so raw.
I think
lovely.
It's a cracking album. White Limo is probably one of my favourites.
Yeah, it was so unexpected when it came out. I was like, wow, like.
And
I've heard heavy Foo Fighters songs, and then that came out.
They actually played it live as well in September, and I thought, yeah, it's just as good live as it.
I don't know how he does it. Like, he screams for 3 hours a night.
I know, and then he just keeps going, I can do more than you.
Yeah,
sort of battles with the audience.
it's brilliant.
It's just like, you're
Yeah.
going to lose your voice before I lose mine, and then we'll end the gig. So do you have a favourite song?
Favorite songs are different now because there's just so many of them. But I think one that I always go to and one that I really enjoy watching live now is probably Times Like These.
It's a very good shout, that one. And it's also one of my favourites as well, just for the drumming parts.
Yeah.
It's quite
the drumming parts.
It's quite intricate
Yeah.
drumming parts. And that is because you're starting to play it and you think, oh yeah, there's. When I first heard it, I was like, what is going on here? And I had to play it one day as well, and I thought, oh god, got to remember how this bit goes. I think I was given 3 days to learn it as well, and I thought,
oh no,
Christ.
And I love when you see them live, and Taylor, is playing in that off time, chucking in all of these fills and still catching the beat. Like, I just love it.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the reasons why Foo Fighters are just one of the best. But obviously, you got Dave Grohl out the front as well, the legend. So that's another reason. And would you like to finish off the interview? By the way, thank you very much for coming on and joining me.
Cool. Thanks for a chat.
And I would like to end the interview for us. So if you wanted to introduce the song Beautiful Magic for me, and then we can end the interview there.
Yeah, cool. So this is Colm from KARMS, and you're listening to the Beautiful, Beautiful Magic.
Where have you been? This slow dance is ending soon. I wanna waltz with you around the house and make with you till summer comes again. The snow is white and still. We'll make angels and lie on hills. I wanna laugh with you around the house, and I can't wait for summertime with you. 'Cause you are beautiful magic calling me home. Where have you been? This snow dance is ending soon. I wanna stay with you, but I can't live like this. I will begin to fall away. 'Cause you are beautiful magic calling me home. And when this night falls away, I'll wait for another day with you. I wanna be around for summertime with you. And you've been waiting for another new year at the chandelier. Ooh, ooh, ooh. are beautiful.